Let me ask you something important. If bone broth is so healthy, so nourishing, so anti-aging, why are so many people over 50 still losing muscle every single year? They're doing what they've been told is right. They're sipping collagen. They're prioritizing gut health. They're avoiding excess calories. And yet, their strength is fading. Their legs feel weaker. Their balance isn't what it used to be. And their metabolism keeps slowing down. Here's what's really going on inside your body. After about age 35, your body slowly enters a state called anabolic resistance. That means your muscles stop responding efficiently to food signals. You can eat what looks like a healthy diet, but the muscle cells don't get the message to rebuild. Instead, the nutrients are more likely to be stored as fat or burned inefficiently. This is the silent driver of sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss. And it's one of the strongest predictors of frailty, insulin resistance, falls, fractures, and even early mortality. And here's the uncomfortable truth most people never hear. Bone broth does not stop sarcopenia, it supports joints. It supports connective tissue, it supports digestion, but it does not contain the specific amino acid signal your muscle cells require to turn on growth. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of muscle like a construction site. Protein is the building material. Bricks, wood, steel. But leucine, a specific essential amino acid, is the foreman. Without enough leucine, the workers never start building. No matter how many supplies you drop off, bone broth brings almost no foreman to the site. What the research shows is that muscle protein synthesis only turns on when a certain leucine threshold is reached, and most aging adults never hit that threshold at any meal. That's why people are eating healthy but still shrinking. In this video, I'm going to show you the real nutritional trigger that rebuilds muscle, why timing matters more than total protein, the single food that outperforms bone broth for muscle preservation, how insulin, liver function, and hormones decide whether protein builds muscle or becomes waste, and how to use this information to protect your strength, metabolism, and independence for decades. If this kind of root cause science-based explanation is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I share practical strategies like this every day to help people age strong, not fragile. Here's what's really going on inside your body as you age. Muscle isn't lost because you're not eating enough, it's lost because the signal to build muscle never reaches the cell. In younger adults, even modest protein intake triggers muscle protein synthesis. But with age, your muscle cells become resistant not to protein itself, but to the signal that protein carries. This is called anabolic resistance, and it's one of the best documented drivers of sarcopenia in the scientific literature. Let me explain this with a whiteboard-style visual. Imagine your muscle cell as a locked door. Protein is the key ring, but leucine is the correct key. Without enough leucine, the door stays shut. The amino acids circulate, get burned for energy, or get converted into glucose by the liver. This is why bone broth, collagen powders, and gelatin fail as muscle-building foods. They're rich in glycine and proline, excellent for joints and skin, but critically low in essential amino acids, especially leucine. They do not activate the mTOR pathway that initiates muscle protein synthesis. What the research shows is that older adults require roughly 2.53 grams of leucine per meal to overcome anabolic resistance. Most light protein meals provide less than half of that. So people sip collagen, eat salads with a little protein, and wonder why their legs are weakening. The body isn't broken, it's under-signaled. Now here's the practical correction. Instead of spreading tiny amounts of protein all day, focus on leucine-dense protein pulses, meals that clearly cross the muscle-building threshold. This means prioritizing complete proteins, eating enough per sitting, pairing protein with light resistance, or walking. And here's a simple starting protocol. At 1 meal per day, preferably breakfast or lunch, aim for 30-40 grams of high-quality protein from a leucine-rich source. This single shift alone has been shown to significantly improve muscle protein synthesis in older adults. If this explanation is clicking for you, stay with me. In the next section, I'll show you the specific food that does this better than bone broth and why its amino acid profile makes all the difference. And if this kind of clear physiology first guidance is valuable, take a moment to like the video. It helps more people learn how to protect their strength naturally. Here's the key insight most people never hear. The food that consistently rebuilds muscle and slows sarcopenia is not bone broth, not collagen, and not plant protein blends. It's high-quality dairy protein, some specifically whey protein or whole foods that naturally concentrate the same amino acid profile. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Whey protein is uniquely rich in leucine, the exact amino acid that flips the muscle growth switch. Gram for gram, whey delivers more leucine than almost any other natural protein source. And it's rapidly absorbed, which matters more as digestion slows with age. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your bloodstream like a delivery highway. With slow, incomplete proteins, nutrients trickle in. The signal is weak, the muscle cell barely notices. With whey, amino acids surge into circulation quickly. Leucine spikes and the muscle cell gets a clear, unmistakable message: build. Now, what the research shows is remarkable. Studies in older adults consistently demonstrate that whey protein stimulates muscle protein synthesis more effectively than meat, soy, or collagen, even when total protein intake is the same. This is because leucine activates the MTL pathway, the master regulator of muscle repair and growth. And this matters even more if you have insulin resistance, slower digestion, reduced stomach acid, or age-related appetite loss. Whey bypasses many of those barriers. Now, this doesn't mean everyone needs protein shakes all day. Here's the practical, real-world application. You can use whey strategically as a therapeutic tool, not a crutch. A simple protocol looks like this. 2,530 grams of whey protein taken once daily, ideally after light resistance exercise or a brisk walk mixed with water, not juice. This alone can help you reach the leucine threshold that most meals never hit. If dairy doesn't agree with you, fermented dairy foods like strained Greek yogurt or kefir offer similar benefits, though in slightly larger portions. The key is hitting the leucine trigger, not chasing calories. Now, here's something crucial. Muscle is not just about strength. Muscle is your largest glucose sink. It absorbs blood sugar, stabilizes insulin, protects the liver, and reduces fat storage. When muscle disappears, blood sugar rises, insulin spikes, and fat gain accelerates, even if calories don't change. That's why sarcopenia and metabolic disease often appear together. You're not losing muscle because you're aging. You're aging faster because you're losing muscle. If this insight is helping you see muscle in a new way, consider subscribing. I post daily content focused on preserving strength, metabolism, and independence naturally and without medications. Now, in the next section, we're going to connect this directly to insulin, liver function, and blood sugar, because protein only builds muscle when the metabolic environment allows it. Let's talk about the hidden reason protein sometimes fails to build muscle, even when you're eating the right food. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Muscle growth doesn't happen in isolation. It happens inside a metabolic environment shaped by insulin, liver function, and blood sugar control. And if that environment is hostile, even perfect protein gets wasted. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine trying to renovate a house during a storm. You can bring in the best materials, the best workers, but if the foundation is flooded, nothing sticks. That's what insulin resistance does to muscle. When insulin is chronically elevated from frequent snacking, refined carbohydrates, poor sleep or stress, the body shifts into storage mode, not repair mode. Amino acids are diverted away from muscle and toward the liver, where they're converted into glucose through gluconeogenesis. In plain terms, you eat protein to build muscle. Your body burns it or stores it as sugar instead. What the research shows is that insulin resistance reduces muscle protein synthesis and accelerates sarcopenia even when protein intake is adequate. This is why many people over 50 say, I'm eating more protein, but I'm still getting weaker. The problem isn't the protein, it's the metabolic traffic jam. Now here's the good news. You don't need extreme diets or medications to fix this. You need to restore insulin sensitivity around your protein intake. Here's a simple functional medicine protocol that works. First, stop grazing. Constant eating keeps insulin elevated all day. Instead, compress your eating window to 2 or 3 solid meals. This gives insulin time to fall, which allows growth signals to be heard. Second, pair protein with movement. Muscle contraction opens glucose transporters without insulin. Even a 10-15 minute walk or light resistance work before protein dramatically improves amino acid uptake into muscle. Third, protect the liver. The liver decides whether amino acids build tissue or become sugar. Excess fructose, alcohol, and ultra-processed foods overload the liver and block muscle repair. A clean plate looks like this. High-quality protein, non-starchy vegetables, healthy fats, minimal sugar, and refined starch. Fourth, prioritize sleep. Poor sleep raises cortisol, and cortisol directly breaks down muscle tissue. One night of sleep deprivation measurably reduces muscle protein synthesis the next day. Now, let's connect this back to whey. When whey protein is consumed in a low insulin post-movement state, it becomes a precision tool. Leucine spikes, mTOR activates, muscle cells respond. Same protein, different outcome. If this is helping you see why muscle loss isn't just about age, but about metabolic context, take a moment to like the video or subscribe. This channel is dedicated to helping you fix the root causes, not chase symptoms. Next, we're going to get very practical. I'll show you exact timing strategies, when to eat protein, how much per meal, and how to structure your day. So muscle rebuilding becomes automatic instead of exhausting. Perfect. Let's make this practical and precise. Here's where most people finally turn the corner because timing and dosing matter just as much as food choice. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Muscle is not built gradually all day long. It's built in distinct windows when the signal is strong enough and the environment is right. If you miss those windows, protein gets burned, not built. Let me explain this with a whiteboard-style analogy. Think of muscle like a sponge. You can drip water on it all day and it barely absorbs anything, but if you soak it intentionally, it fills up. That's how muscle responds to protein. Tiny amounts spread across snacks do almost nothing for aging muscle. What works is clear, deliberate protein pulses that cross the leucine threshold. What the research shows is that older adults respond best to 30-40 grams of high-quality protein per meal rather than small amounts every few hours. This approach overcomes anabolic resistance and maximizes muscle protein synthesis. Now let's build a simple daily structure. First, protein window late morning or lunch. This is ideal because cortisol is naturally higher in the morning, which can block muscle building. Waiting a few hours or after light movement improves the anabolic response. Second protein window, late afternoon or early evening. This supports overnight muscle repair as growth hormone rises during sleep. You do not need protein before bed. In fact, eating too late can disrupt sleep and blunt recovery. Now, let's talk specifics. A muscle-building meal should include 3040 degree complete protein, enough leucine, about 253 G. Low sugar and refined starch eaten after movement. Examples: whey protein with water after walking, eggs with vegetables and healthy fat, Greek yogurt with nuts and seeds, fish or poultry with greens. Notice what's missing. Bone broth. It can be added alongside protein for joints or gut support, but it cannot replace a muscle building meal. Now here's an important refinement. As we age, digestion slows. Stomach acid drops. That means large protein meals can feel heavy or uncomfortable. This is where digestive support helps. Eat protein earlier in the day. Chew thoroughly. Consider apple cider vinegar before meals. Avoid combining protein with large amounts of sugar. Now, let's add one more critical layer. Resistance training doesn't need to be intense. It needs to be consistent and signal-based. Even 2 or 3 sessions per week of simple movements, squats, wall push-ups, resistance bands dramatically increase how effectively protein builds muscle. Protein tells muscle what to do. Movement tells muscle where to go. If this section is helping you connect the dots, consider subscribing. In the next section, we'll cover the supporting nutrients and lifestyle levers that determine whether muscle repair accelerates or quietly shuts down, even when everything else looks right. Let's finish the puzzle, because this is where many people unknowingly sabotage muscle repair, even when their protein and exercise are dialed in. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Muscle growth is not just a nutrition issue, it's a hormonal and neurological process. And there are 3 quiet factors that decide whether rebuilding happens or stalls. The first is vitamin D. Vitamin D isn't just for bones. It's a signaling hormone that directly influences muscle strength, balance, and protein synthesis. Muscle cells have vitamin D receptors, and when levels are low, muscles become weaker, slower, and more injury prone. What the research shows is that low vitamin D status is strongly associated with sarcopenia, especially in older adults. Supplementation, when deficient, improves muscle strength and response to resistance training. A simple protocol: test levels, if possible. Aim for blood levels around 4060 NL. Typical intake 2000 IU daily, taken with fat. Pair with sunlight exposure whenever possible. The second factor is sleep. This one is non-negotiable. Most muscle repair happens during deep sleep, when growth hormone is released and cortisol falls. If sleep is short or fragmented, muscle protein synthesis drops the very next day, even if protein intake is perfect. Let me explain this simply. Protein provides the raw materials. Sleep provides the construction crew. Without sleep, the crew never shows up. Practical sleep anchors that protect muscle. Consistent bedtime. No late night snacking. Dark, cool room, morning light exposure. Even improving sleep by 3060 minutes per night can measurably improve strength over time. The third factor, and this one is underestimated, is chronic stress and cortisol. Cortisol is catabolic. It breaks tissue down. When cortisol stays elevated from psychological stress, overtraining, undereating, or poor sleep, muscle breakdown accelerates. This is why many people who diet aggressively lose muscle instead of fat. The fix isn't doing less, it's recovering better. Simple cortisol lowering tools: walking outdoors, breath work, adequate calories, avoiding excessive fasting when already lean or stressed. Now, here's the key integration point. Muscle is built when protein signaling is strong, insulin is controlled, vitamin D is sufficient, sleep is deep, stress is managed. Miss one and progress slows. Miss several and sarcopenia accelerates. If this section is helping you see how muscle loss is not inevitable but programmable, take a moment to like the video or subscribe. I post daily evidence-based strategies to help you stay strong, metabolically healthy, and independent as you age. Now, let's bring everything together. Sarcopenia isn't a protein deficiency problem, it's a signaling problem. Bone broth supports joints and gut health. but it does not send the anabolic signal your muscles require. What builds and protects muscle is leucine-rich, high-quality protein delivered in the right amount at the right time in the right metabolic environment. Here's what to remember. Muscle loss accelerates with age because signals weaken. Whey and leucine-rich foods restore that signal. Protein must be eaten in clear, intentional pulses. Insulin sensitivity, liver health, and sleep decide the outcome. Supporting nutrients like vitamin D matter more than people realize. Muscle is not optional tissue. It's your metabolic engine, your glucose sink, your protection against frailty, falls, and aging. So, here's your challenge. Pick one change today. Add a leucine-rich protein meal. Walk before you eat. Improve sleep by 30 minutes. Check your vitamin D. Track how your body responds. Strength is built quietly, but it compounds powerfully. If this video added value, like it, subscribe, and join a growing community of people choosing to age strong, sharp, and resilient naturally. You're not too old to build muscle. You just need to send the right signal